the live?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hema Haldadas.
Okay. Could you do a small kirtan, whoever is there? Okay, devotees are just joining in. Just getting in my karatal. Please give me a minute. Himangaladhar Prabhu, did you want to do a small kirtan? Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesya Sunyavadi Pasatadesatarini Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayo Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Subhadra Jaya Sudarshana Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Nitai Chaitanya Jaya Nitai Chaitanya Nitai Chaitanya Jaya Nitai Chaitanya Jaya Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jai Jai Gurudev 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 Jai Jai Gurudev Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Just give me a minute. Let us. Okay, welcome all of you to the Sunday morning Srimad Bhagavatam summary study. If it's possible, some of you could open up your videos. That's why then it can feel a little nice, but it's your choice. Okay, let me just share my screen. Then I can just. Just sharing my screen. Give me a minute. We are today supposed to read from chapter 5, text 1 to 22. Honestly, don't know how I'll be able to do justice to the total thing, but we shall try with the mercy of the spiritual master to just do that. So So I've tried to make some slides, couldn't complete it completely. Yes. If you can kindly confirm that you are able to see my slide, anyone can just confirm.
Yes, Prabhuji, we can see.
Oh, Jai, Hemanga, Haribol, yeah, thank you. Okay. Perfect. So we are reading chapter 5, text 1 to 22. Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, Mai ki Jai, their immense blessings, and Nitai Chaitanya and Vaman Dev's blessings on us. Let's start with a small prayer. Do the Mangalacharan. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurunritam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantigam. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Rita Sri Visakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sati Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desa Tarini Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vishnu Prasthaya Bhutala Smriti Jagya Swami Dhamacharya Padani Padani. And is dedicated to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder actually of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. As we are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, let us pray to Naranarayana, to Saraswati, to Srila Vyasadeva. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of God and Narayana, unto Naranarayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nascha praeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttamasloke bhaktir bhavati naischiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. We'll consider this as a service to my spiritual master. If some way the rendition of the Bhagavatam today helps you to remove whatever is troublesome to your heart, also helps to remove whatever is troublesome to my heart and all of us out here. So we know that we are in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and we know that all the sages have assembled at Naimisharanya and they're hearing to Srita Goswami. And they had actually, we knew that this were the first 6 questions. I'm just repeating, giving a little bit of background. So we have seen that they have asked, 6 questions were asked by the sages, very important. What is absolute truth? What is highest good? What is the essence of all scriptures? What is purpose of Krishna's appearance? What Purusha avatar, what Leela avatar, and where did religion take shelter after Krishna's disappearance? So very nicely in chapter 1 to chapter 3, all this was answered. And when it came upon saying that religion took shelter in after Srimad Bhagavatam, given that these sages were very elevated souls, the next set of questions happened on Srimad Bhagavatam. So anyone, it's like a conversation which is going on. So you had this, you learned about Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's basically when it was asked, like one time Srila Prabhupada asked someone who is Krishna, and that person was very baffled as to what to answer. But when he asked the small little Saraswati, the daughter of Shyam Sundar and Malati, she said that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But it depends on who the Srota is, who is the Vakta, and depending on that, the answer is given. So here the Srotas were quite, they were quite elevated. And in that case, he couldn't stop just at Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but rather went about giving the total description of Krishna's purpose and all of that. And then he said that after Krishna's disciplines came to Srimad Bhagavatam. So now what happened was, so they further asked certain questions. So they started asking that when was Srimad Bhagavatam compiled, when and where it was written, and what is the inspiration behind that, and whom was it spoken to? So it was spoken to Parikshit the first time. So they say, oh, it was spoken to Parikshit. Okay, perfectly fine. So tell us something about Parikshit. There was one more question. So there is the second question. Third question was, why did Parikshit give up everything to sit on the bank of Ganges and hear from Sukadev Goswami? Oh, so they heard it from Sukadev. So they want to know how Sukadev was received in Hastinapur and how did his meeting with Parikshit happen. So this was the 4 questions which comes out after that, right? And this is what comes from the 4th chapter towards the 19th chapter, which will complete our first canto. So 19 chapters complete. Today we are supposed to reach the 5th chapter, but I just wanted to give you a background. So last week Prabhu would have explained to you as to how Vyasadeva was dissatisfied, and Narada has come to meet Vyasadeva, right? So that's where we were there. So that is basically now answering the first question. We are almost answering the first question and we are going towards that, right? So Vyasadeva has foreseen, the degradation of the age of Kali. Vyasadeva is the literary incarnation of the Lord. We'll see in the last verse of this our rendition today, wherein Narada himself will say that you are birthless. So the Lord himself has come as the literary incarnation of the Lord. And so Vyasadeva knew how in Kali everything will go for a toss, So he contemplated, what can I do so that it will help these people. So before that, so what he did was he thought that, okay, let me compile the Vedic literature in a more easily understandable way. So that I give a means so that they can easily gradually progress. They may not be able to do what was being done in the early ages, but at least if I can compile it, then we'll go. So he divided the Vedas, and it was what we have seen also. So each Veda was given to 4 different persons who further gave it to their disciples, and so on and so forth. It went up. So Rig, Sama, Yajur, and Atharva Veda, right? But in spite of doing all of that, Vyasadeva was not happy. These are all the 4th chapter. So Vyasadeva was not at all happy. So because Vyasadeva was not happy, so when you're not happy, you contemplate on the causes. You start thinking, why am I not happy? So, and it is very nicely mentioned that he could catch the possible clue. He could find out that maybe I have not pointed about devotional service. So I have not told about that, which is dear to both perfected beings and the infallible Lord. So he said that maybe I have not thought about that. So it's not that only Narada came and said. So Vyasadeva also had already thought about that okay, I have not particularly written more about devotional service. At that point of time, he was in a state of despondency. So, but anytime devotees are despondent, this is something pretty nice. Anytime devotees are despondent, the result is something nectarian, which is helping people like us who are to be devotees. So when Arjuna was despondent, Krishna gave the Bhagavad Gita, and that is the sum and substance. When Yudhishthira was despondent, Bhishma gave his instruction, which is called the Bhishma Stuti. Similarly, when Vyasadeva was despondent, Vyasadeva wrote the Srimad Bhagavatam. Similarly, when Devahuti was despondent, we have the wonderful Kapila Muni giving the teachings to Devahuti. So, see, there's a difference between devotees' despondency and a difference between the despondency of a non-devotee. Non-devotee, when they become despondent, they the end result is usually noose. They try to commit suicide, or they try to do that. But when devotees are despondent, they reach out to this particular thing, or they reach out to the Supreme Personality of God, or they reach out to the spiritual master. And the end result is, which is beneficial for everyone, which is very, very beneficial. And so when Vyasadeva was despondent, the resultant, you know what it is, the ripened fruit of all the literature came forward. So it is mentioned that when Vyasadeva was very sad, bad, and disappointed, Vyasadeva was there. At that time, Narada Muni came out there. Right? So Narada Muni, as soon as Narada Muni came out there, so there's a very difference in how we react vis-a-vis how Vyasadeva reacted. When we are very dejected, when we are very sad, when we are feeling very bad, if someone comes, we usually don't want to meet them. We say, okay, we try to keep our own space, they say. So, but Vyasa was not like that. Vyasa actually took forward. Vyasa said, oh, my spiritual master has come. Timing for my spiritual master to come, you know. So he was very, very, very happy at that point of time that his spiritual master has come. Though he was despondent, he immediately gave asana to Narada. He gave a small asana. He said, please sit. And Narada was smiling at him, and Narada was so Narada was also happy to his disciple, and the disciple was also happy to see his guru. He was thinking that, okay, it's very nice. So it's a very nice etiquette that anytime anyone comes, irrespective of whatever situation we are in, if a Vaishnava comes, how we have to welcome him. We have to forget all our sadness, all our sorrow, and we have to actually ensure that we respect them. And then when they ask, we can then go about and we can then open up our heart, because that is one of the 6 interactions, right? We have and to seniors mostly, we reveal our heart. The other 4 is usually done, taking and receiving gifts, having food, but this revealing heart does not happen usually. But Vyasadeva gave his seat, and then what happened was, and that is when the 5th chapter starts, when Narada gives instructions on Srimad Bhagavatam for Vyasadeva. This forms the basis for the chapter. So we were actually seeing what is the background for that, right? So certain they have not completed the complete slides, so sometimes we may go back to the Veda base to see the flow of the chapter. Essentially, 22 slokas which has been told after from the 23rd sloka, actually the story of Narada Muni starts, when Narada Muni will speak about how he came in and all of that. But up till 22, we can divide it into 3 sections, basically. So the first one is 1 to 4, which is Narada inquiring about Vyasa's despondency, and 5 to 7, Vyasadeva admits his dissatisfaction, and 8 to 22, Narada then gives him the reason why he has, what is the problem in that, and that's where they go about with it, you know. So we'll go to each one of them and we'll try to understand that what was Narada's instruction, right? So we'll first move to the first part. So very interesting. So the first part starts that Narada gets seated and smiles and addresses Vyasadeva's disappointment. He sits and he says, oh, and you see how Vyasadeva is there, but Narada is smiling. Then Narada says, are you satisfied? Now you have written everything. Are you satisfied by identifying the body or the mind as objects of self-realization? In fact, here he in fact calls Vyasa, which we will see also. He calls Vyasa as the son of Parashara. So Parashara Muni's son was Vyasadeva. So it was a very important lineage. He said that this is not, it's almost like Krishna telling Arjuna, not at all befitting your lineage, you are not at all behaving like Arya. Similarly, Narada is also sarcastic, almost the similarity, saying that, now are you satisfied? Huh? You wrote everything. Are you satisfied by identifying with the body and mind as objects of self-realization? So he asks him. And then he also glorified Vyasadev's studies and says that you have written Mahabharata, which is very nice. He understands that everything Vyasadeva has written. And he says that, so that means you are not anyway less in knowledge, because you have done everything whatever was required to be done. You have done that, right? And you have not only complete in your knowledge, but you also have realization. That's why you have also, in the fourth one, he says that you have explained even about the impersonal Brahman. But why are you still despondent? Very, very practical question. He says that now you have done all the work. It's like some work is told to you, and you do everything. And at the end of it, but you are not so happy. So your boss will ask you, okay, why are you not happy? And similarly, Narada was asking. Meanwhile, also saying that it's that you have done it to the maximum level of whatever you could do. And then at that point of time, the next section starts, where Vyasadeva will admit his dissatisfaction. And here is a very nice way how that conversation is happening. It was pretty interesting. So because Narada, see, both are Kavi. One of the qualities of a devotee is that he's a Kavi. So he knows what is the exact way to address whom, So Narada addressed him as Parasara's son. So when Vyasadeva is saying that you are Parasara's son, Vyasa says, you are the son of Brahma. You are the son of Brahma. And so I am dissatisfied, but you know everything, right? You know everything, and because you are worshipping the Supreme Lord. Huh? And he glorifies Narada Muni as good as super soul. So sometimes we see that when we speak to the new devotees, we say that when Arjuna speaks, Arjuna Vacha, mm, what is that? When Dhritarashtra speaks, Dhritarashtra Vacha, Sanjaya speaks, Sanjaya Vacha. When Krishna speaks, Krishna, it's not Krishna Vacha, it's Bhagavan Vacha. Similarly, when Narada speaks, it's Narada Vacha. But certain times when Narada speaks, it's also Bhagavan Vacha. In Bhagavatam, we see that. So he actually glorifies Narada Muni as good as super soul. Why he does that? Let us see that. Huh? I'll just make you read only the translation because we have shortage of time, but pretty interesting. Let me just share with you that I've kept it open. Yeah, okay. I hope you're able to see my screen. So this was where I was saying, addressing Vyasadeva, the son of Parashara. Narada inquired, are you satisfied? And then Vyasadeva said, all you have said about me is perfectly correct. When Narada says that you are doing all of this, Vyasadeva also, just imagine your guru saying your guru is glorifying you. First he asks you sarcastically, but he says he glorifies you. And yes, what you have said is correct. So he says that all you have said about me is perfectly correct. It is, despite all this, I am not passive. Oh, sorry. Sorry for that. Just a minute, give a minute. I think nowadays, too many. I have WhatsApp open here, so it just goes after that. Sorry. And yeah. So he says your inquiries were full, you are fully delineated. Okay, Vyasadeva says, despite all this, I am not pacified. And because I am not pacified, I therefore question you about the root cause of my dissatisfaction. For you are a man of unlimited knowledge. You know, in our software world, we have something called as root cause analysis. An issue happens, it is said that uh, they do a postmortem. They try to find out what is the root cause of that. So that is called RCA, and you are supposed to send a RCA. I'm in the software world, and I had a support. So every 2-3 days, I have to send a RCA document, root cause analysis document, because they want to see that if you find the root cause, then the problem will not. So because it cannot be, it will not be repeated. So at that point of time, what happened was, so Vyasadeva also said that, please give a root cause analysis of my dissatisfaction. Why you can do? Because you are knowledgeable. You are a man of unlimited knowledge, he says that. And then he says, my Lord, everything that is mysterious is known to you because you worship the creator and destroyer of the material world. So Krishna in the Chatursloki also, if you see, Krishna says that my devotee means I give them the knowledge by which all their ignorance is completely destroyed, right? And similarly for these pure devotees, anything that is known, that needs to be known, that is revealed to them by the Supreme Lord. Certain times when devotees went in front of Srila Prabhupada, they said that he was like an X-ray. He could totally scan them across. So it is said that everything that is mysterious is known to you because you worship the creator and destroyer of the material world. So because you worship Narayana, you worship Krishna, so you know everything. And then he says, this is where he says, like the sun, your goodness can travel anywhere in the 3 worlds. And like air, you can penetrate the internal region of everyone. And that's what a spiritual master is. As such, you are as good as the all-pervasive super soul. Please, therefore, find out the deficiency in me, despite me being absorbed in transcendence under disciplinary regulations and vows. So this is pretty important. See, one has to understand that Vyasadeva was following everything, whatever was required. So Vyasadeva was following everything, but in spite of that, he was having some dissatisfaction. And Narada immediately goes to the root of the problem. He goes to the root of the problem. Narada says, perfect. What it says? Narada says, you have not actually broadcast the sublime and spotless glories of the personality of Godhead. That philosophy which does not satisfy the transcendental senses of the Lord is considered worthless. He said, you did everything, but you have not glorified the personality of God. Basically, he finds out two defects. We'll come to this. Let's just touch base on the slides again. The slides will be more helpful at this point of time, I think. And then we can come here. So he says that so Narada reveals at this point of time, Narada reveals to Vyasa the importance of describing Krishna's pastime. So he said that you have insufficiently broadcasted Lord's stories. You have not done that. If it does not satisfy the senses of the Lord, it is considered worthless. And second thing is, you have put more emphasis on the 4 Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. You have put more on this. You have not glorified the Lord himself more. These are the 2 defects which Narada, the expert doctor, immediately finds out what the problem is. This is the root cause of the problem. He had all the knowledge with him, but you have not presented it properly. And because you have not presented it properly, it has led to other problems. And what he says there are actually two categories of literature. He goes to that effect. He says that whatever you have written, that is literature. Perfect. You have written a literature. Like every day you will find so many literature, so many magazines, so many everything. So he says that there are two types of literature. One is a materialistic literature. The materialistic literature may be written by anyone. But for them, saintly people will consider them as the pilgrimage place of crows. See, crows will always want to stay in some filthy places. I don't know if I have said this to you, but I'll say I actually remember, anytime I remember crow, I actually remember this very nice rendition by Radhanath Swami Maharaj. Maharaj is saying that he was actually sitting, I have never been to Chowpatty, but the way Maharaj described, I'm actually thinking of that particular thing. Maharaj says that behind Chowpatty, maybe some of you who are there who can tell me if you have visited, Maharaj says that there is a garden there. And inside the garden, there is a lot of very beautiful trees, very nice plants. And Maharaj says that a lot of nice fruits are on that. But outside the compound of that, there is a garbage bag where all the garbage from the corresponding society and everything is put. And Maharaj says there are so nice fruits in the garden, but the crow, be it the new crow or be it the old crow, the crow will not enter into the garden and eat. It's free, but it will not come and eat that. What it will do, it will go and it will peck at the garbage bag and the stale food, it will pick that up and it will start eating that. And the new crow, whoever is there, he will try to take more and more of that. So they're like the new people, new karmis, they want to take so much advantage of the materialistic literature. But for saintly people, that is considered as a pilgrimage place of crows. That is garbage for them, because it only is interested in satisfying the senses. Whereas he says that the other literature is the transcendental literature. Even though it may be imperfectly composed, it can be heard, sung, and acted by purified men. When a materialist writes a book, they keep on going to their book, they keep on reading. I don't know how many of you have seen authors, they keep on reading their books, they keep reading their books to find out the grammatical errors in them so that can be corrected. But we have seen Srila Prabhupada in his books. He was not reading that to find out the grammatical errors and mistakes. He was trying to get the love of God. And he said that this is not what I have written, this is what Krishna has dictated. That's the difference between a transcendental literature and a materialistic literature. So it says that your literature is not being transcendental. So he asks him to recompile again. Okay, the slides will stop here, but nevertheless we will go back to our so he says that you have not sufficiently glorified it. You have only glorified the four dharma, artha, kama, moksha, and this is what we are seeing, the literature which is full of description of transcendental glories of the name, etc. Right? And then he goes on to explain to Vedavyas, to Vyasadeva, as to what is the reason for such a nuisance which is happening. And from next 12 to 16, he will actually explain that devotional service is the only valuable asset. Yeah, what does he say there? He says that only devotional service is the valuable asset. He says, knowledge of self-realization, even though free from all material affinity, does not look well if devoid of a conception of the infallible God. What then is the use of fruitive activities which are naturally painful from the very beginning and transient by nature if they are not utilized for the devotional service of the Lord? He says that if we don't have, if we are not glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then there is no use at all. Narada Muni says, because with fruitive activities, you are sometimes or the other, you're gonna face problem in that. You're going to be miserable in that. It could be at the start, it could be at the end. So anything which is there, that should be utilized for the devotional service of the Lord. And then he says, your vision is completely perfect. So you can think of the pastimes of the Lord in trance for the liberation of the people in general from all material bondage. So it's up to you. You can actually do that. You should actually consider how to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead. See, now you wrote the complete literature. You wrote the total Mahabharata. See, after he wrote, Vyasadeva wrote all the literature, he also wrote Mahabharata for those who cannot understand the Vedas. See, Vedas, not everyone can read that. It almost became like that only the Brahmanas can read the Vedas. That's why we have Dvivedi, Trivedi, Chaturvedi, and you have such surnames in the North India. That means they could read that many Vedas. It became, the Brahminical quality became based on caste, based on their birth. It was not based on Bhagavad Gita, which is Guna Karma. It is not based on that. Earlier, as per our scriptures, if you are born in a Brahminical family, you could be a Dvija Bandhu. Means it is favorable. You can be a Bandhu for that. You in a Brahminical or a Kshatriya family, you can be, it will be favorable for you. But here, what happened was it became mostly based on the particular family in which they were born. And when they are in family, actually, Vyasadeva wrote Mahabharata so that the main purpose of writing Mahabharata was to explain the Gita, because Gita comes in Mahabharata. But people leave the Gita totally of Mahabharata, because the essence of Gita is Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mam Ekam Saranam Vraja. Right? The most confidential knowledge in Bhagavad Gita is, he says, confidential knowledge that you are spirit souls, more confidential knowledge that you should surrender to the Paramatma. Then the most confidential knowledge, he says, Manmanava Bhava Madbhakto. He says that. And then just after that, he says, forget everything, just surrender unto me. But what do people do? They will not go to that part of, they will read Mahabharata, they will see the politics in that. So actually every night I also read, I also share the stories of Mahabharata. But certain times when you start thinking about Mahabharata, you will actually see that it mostly details about, means till you go as a devotee, till you read it from a devotee perspective, you will actually get enamored by the politics. You'll get enamored by the different other things of economic prosperity. So it's dharmartha mostly there. Of course, liberation is also there. But a devotee does not like that. So here he's saying that you should, you are firm in your vow and situated in truthfulness. So think of the pastimes of the Lord. Because why are you writing this? You're not writing this because to just still keep them in material bondage. You felt bad for them, so you have to write something which will liberate them from material bondage. And what will liberate them from material bondage? Think of the pastimes of the Lord. And then he says, whatever you desire to describe that is separate in vision from the Lord simply reacts with different forms, names, and results to agitate the mind, as the wind agitates a boat which has no resting place. So he says that if you don't, it becomes like a boat. The boat is floating, but boat does not have a resting place if you are not glorifying the Lord. It will just be agitated. It will just be going here, there. So better have a resting place. Better you glorify the Lord at that particular point of time. And then he says that the people are generally inclined to enjoy. Why do the people come to this material world? They have come to this material world Because they have the lording over nature. They wanted to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They said, why should Krishna be the only point of enjoyer? Why should he be the enjoyer and why should we be the enjoyer? Why is that? Let me also be the enjoyer. And that's why we came to this material world. And are they saying, hello, Mr. Vyasadev, whatever you have done, you have actually encouraged them to enjoy. Because you wrote all other Puranas also. Leave the Brahmanas. The others also who will take up, they will read all of the Puranas in which you have glorified the demigods. And they will be literally, they will become very encouraged. Oh yes, in the name of religion, I am doing this. That is what happened also. Even though Vyasa thought that also happened. People started reading the Vedas and they thought, okay, we should sacrifice the animals. They were not sacrificing the animals to please the Lord. They were sacrificing the animals to please themselves. But they were doing it in the garb of religion. So we have this tendency, among the 4 defects, one is the cheating propensity. And when we cheat, we totally mask it nicely. We sugarcoat it. We sugarcoat it very nicely. So it is said that this is verily condemned and is quite unreasonable because they are guided under your instructions. They will accept such activities in the name of religion and will hardly care for prohibitions. In fact, in this purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that that's why Buddha came. Lord Buddha came. Because he wanted to stop that. In the name of Vedas, they were they were not understanding the meaning of that. And they were doing a lot of animal sacrifice, and he came and he said that you don't do animal sacrifice, right? He brought that thing. So he's saying that Vyasa, you have written all those things, but you have not glorified the Lord himself. It has become so the mind is totally agitated. And these people are really liking, they're going to like that. So you're actually encouraging them in the wrong way. They're saying that. And he says, this is pretty nice. He says the Supreme Lord is unlimited. Only a very expert personality retired from the activities of material happiness deserves to understand this knowledge of spiritual values. So it's very difficult to understand the Supreme Lord. We have seen this, right? In Bhagavad Gita also we have seen this. Manushyanam sahasresu kaschidhyatati siddhai. Out of many thousands of men, hardly one will try to understand me. And among them also, hardly one will understand me completely. They'll try for perfection, and among them, hardly one will understand me. So it's very difficult. So how do you do for the other persons? How will you do that? He says, therefore, those who are not so well educated, see, those who are very well situated, they have retired from the activities of material happiness. Then they can get the knowledge of spiritual values. But what about for others? They should also be shown the ways of transcendental realization. And how will you do? You have to do through descriptions of the transcendental activities of the Supreme Lord. So you have to tell about the activities of the Supreme Lord. By that, by hearing the activities of the Supreme Lord, they will get attracted towards him. Otherwise, they are going away. It is not satisfying the main objective. We have lost track of what we are supposed to do. Our objective was to bring them back towards God consciousness, towards Krishna consciousness. And Vyasadeva, you are not doing that. You are totally off track now. You have given all your knowledge, but you are off track. You have actually given them for something by which they will go hither thither. So the only way is to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's what he says. So he said that only devotional service will become important. Then what he goes about to say is this, whatever progress you will make in this devotional service, which you will glorify and you will say about devotional service, when he describes the devotional service, that is what you can hear, Shravanam, Kirtanam. So you will do that. You will glorify or you will hear the glorification. But this is totally, this is not material. This will not stop here. This will continue. And that's what he says in the next 3 verses, 17, 18, 19. What he says? He says, one who has forsaken his material occupations to engage in the devotional service of the Lord may sometimes fall down while in an immature stage. Yet there is no danger of his being unsuccessful. On the other hand, a non-devotee, though fully engaged in occupational duties, does not gain anything. So pretty seriously, and Prabhupada writes very nicely in this purport. So Prabhupada says that someone who has forsaken his material occupations, and he wants to engage in the devotional service to the Lord, he may not be able to totally achieve. He gives the example of Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj left everything and he went to do that, but he fell for a stag. The person who left out a beautiful wife, beautiful kingdom, so nice opulences, but he fell for a stag. That from Bhava stage he fell down. But there is no danger of that. It's okay. It's still okay even if he's unsuccessful. What will happen? Even though he was born as a stag in the next lifetime, he could still, because he remembered the stag. See, the Lord has to see all his rules are correct. So he sees that, okay, he remembered this stag at the end of his lifetime. So it is mentioned that yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajati ante kalevaram. So it said that whomever you remember at the time of death, you will get that nature. So he became a stag. But the stag did not forget whatever his spiritual activities were. The stag came and stayed in that ashram itself. And the next time he got born as king. He was born as Jada Bharata, and we know that beautiful conversation between Jada Bharata and Rahuguna. Similarly, we know about Ajamila, right? So he's saying that it's okay, even if the devotee cannot be totally successful, it is still okay, because even a small endeavor which is done in this part, in this devotional service, because when you glorify, they will be engaged in devotional service. That will stay forever. Swalpapyasya dharmasya, it will trayate mahato bhayat. From the most abominable type of fear, it will help them, right? So it is out here. He mentions that. So don't be worried. You keep glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then what he says, persons who are actually, these three are almost saying how the spiritual credit always stays across, He says that persons who are actually intelligent and philosophically inclined should endeavor only for that purposeful end, which is not obtainable even by wandering from the topmost planet down to the lowest planet. As far as happiness derived from sense enjoyment is concerned, it can be obtained automatically in course of time, just as in course of time we obtain miseries, even though we do not desire them. How many of us have actually gone to the temple, have gone to our puja room and then said, oh my Lord, give me difficulties. I seriously think, I have my own doubts if anyone has done that. If there is a Queen Kunti, that's a different thought anyway. Queen Kunti asked for difficulties for a different reason. We don't ask, but miseries come. And as miseries come, similarly happiness will come. That's what Narada is saying. So if you just want to write whatever literatures you wrote, that in that you have just ensured that they will get that sense enjoyment only. They will do those, and they will think that as religion. So how will that happen? Because if they do that, they are still going to stay within this material world. And be it Brahmaloka, be it Patala, from the topmost planet to the lowermost planet. The problem of birth, that old age disease will be there. And that one you don't have to endeavor so much. But your literature is leading to that. But who are actually intelligent, who are philosophically inclined, they should endeavor for something more. They should endeavor how they can think about Krishna. Then he says, my dear Vyasa, even though a devotee of Lord Krishna sometimes falls down somehow or other, he certainly does not undergo material existence like others. This is what we were talking. Because a person who has once relished the taste of the lotus feet of the Lord can do nothing but remember that ecstasy again and again, again and again. In fact, we'll see that little later also in this chapter or the next chapter, I think, where when Narada, we'll see it in 1-2 chapters later, where Narada will explain about his birth, and he will say that how he followed the Bhakti Vedantas, and then he got a Jhalak darshan, and then he continued, because he released for that 1 second, then he continued chanting, he continued chanting. And he didn't have to undergo material existence. After that, he got a transcendental spiritual body. So even though certain time there may follow. Now here is a thing. It's very nicely explained in the Bhagavad Gita also, that in case someone does not complete, this is what Arjuna also asks Krishna. What about if I am not becoming a totally successful yogi? Will I become like a riven cloud? Will I be thrown here, there, and then gone? I will neither be in the spiritual world nor in the material world. Times our devotees also face this. So in that it is mentioned that no problem. If you cannot completely go ahead also, what you will be done is you will be born in an aristocratic family, or you will be born in a family of devotees, right? But here he says that Krishna says that I will pull him back also. And sometimes, think of this is a very heavy statement, but because all of you are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, we can be said that. So yes, but more fortunate than them is also when Krishna sees a devotee going up, certain times what he will do is he will also pull out all their material attachments. And then that fellow will become totally helpless, and he will again come back to Krishna, because he will be totally helpless. And when he becomes totally helpless, he has no other way. He'll come back to Krishna. So it's only for a certain time he has a fall down. Then Krishna ensures what he has to do to him so that he can come back. So it's better to be that. That's what Narada is saying him. Narada is saying that you don't worry, you give them the topmost thing, whatever is it, but you give them the topmost transcendental literature. Say them to be surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now your other things has actually taken them little away. It will take them little away. So do that. And then we go to the next last 3 verses, in which he will actually give instruction to Vyasadeva. He'll give a perfect instruction to Vyasadeva. So what will he give? So these 3 are these 3 are the instructions. He said, the Supreme, so he said, the Supreme Lord Personality of Godhead is himself this cosmos, and still he is aloof from it. From him only has this cosmic manifestation emanated in him. In him it rests, and unto him it enters after annihilation. Your good self knows all about this. I have given only a synopsis. So he says that I'm only saying you something. You know about all this Mahabharata. You know about Karanodakshay. You know about Garbhodakshay. You know about Shirodakshay. Huh? So you say all about that also. Because everything emanates from the supremacy of the Lord. Detail out the supremacy of the Lord. Tell them what it is. Give all the details about this. And you know about it. And then he says, your goodness has perfect vision. You yourself can know the super soul personality of God because you are present as the plenary portion of the Lord. So Narada Muni says that I know that you are a plenary portion of the Lord. Although you are birthless, you have appeared on this earth for the well-being of the people. So these spiritual masters are actually, they are not Nitya Baddhas like us. You have appeared on this earth for the well-being. And because you have appeared on the earth for well-being, please therefore describe the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, more vividly. This is the total clear instruction which Narada said. He found out the root cause. Now he gave how to avoid that problem. So you have like issue problem, then you find your investigations, then you say what is the root cause, and then you say how the problem can be solved. That's how a software world works out. So he found out the root cause. He gave the 2 reasons which we saw earlier. And then he said that you should describe the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Personality of God. See, Vyasadeva didn't even need a spiritual master because he's also the Supreme Personality of God who has come as literary incarnation. But in order to showcase that all of us need spiritual master, he's accepted Narada as spiritual master. And of course, Narada is also equally qualified. Like he said, he's also equivalent to the super soul, right? And then he says that learned circles have positively concluded that the infallible purpose of the advancement of knowledge, namely austerity, study of Vedas, sacrifice, chanting of hymns, and charity, culminates in the transcendental descriptions of the Lord, who is defining choice poetry. He says that anything, this particular purport also, Srila Prabhupada very clearly states that we can use any advancement of science, but that advancement of science should be used to remember Vishnu, should not be engaged in Vishnu Maya. He says that, so anything we do, any austerity we do, that it should all culminate in the transcendental descriptions of the Lord. And when we do that, then you will be happy. So that's what Narada brought about when Vyasadeva asked him the question. And he said that Narada has very clearly stated out there that it is, you know it, you can do it, but you have not done it because you have gone a little bit. So this also makes us say that we may know certain things, but it's always good to have the control loop. It's always good to stay under a master. Because if we stay under the direction of the spiritual master, then the spiritual master will be able to correct us wherever we go wrong. Very, very important. And the most essential part of the thing is we have to keep glorifying the Supreme Personality of God. If we don't glorify the personality of Godhead, then what will happen is we will keep doing those activities just as it is a social activity. It is not a transcendental activity. You are not touching the Ananda part. You may be doing the Sat Chit part. You may be doing that, but you're not touching the Ananda part. And it will not be Susukam Kartumabhyam. So you have to touch the Susukam Kartumabhyam, because that, if you have to do that, then if you have to touch the Ananda part, then you have to glorify. You have to glorify. We'll stop here and we'll open up for questions for a few minutes, if that's okay. Let's see, I see some chats have come up. Yeah, Dr. Lata. I can, you all can unmute yourself. Anyone wants to ask something, you all can ask.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, I had one question.
Yes.
So, Vyasadeva is actually one of the incarnations of Krishna itself, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, in the situation, today's class, we have discussed that how Vyasadeva was stuck and he was not able to think ahead. But he is already an incarnation of Krishna. How come he did not have that knowledge of what was missing in the scriptures?
No.
Even though you mentioned that in the path of spiritual thing, you would require a guru who will actually guide you. I was also just trying to understand, do you want to add something more to have that clarity?
Sure. Prabhu, what's your good name?
Vamshi, Prabhu.
Vamshi Prabhu. Very nice question, Vamshi Prabhu. In fact, before we started up this chapter itself, 5th chapter, I that it's not that he didn't know. If you see the 4th chapter towards the end, Vyasadeva actually says he catches it, that because I have not glorified devotional service. He could catch it. And Srila Prabhupada, let me show you that purport. Two things. So he actually says this. I'm just sharing my screen. If someone doesn't have any question, can kindly mute yourself. Can someone help me? Some co-hosts, Prabhu, can you please help me in muting? Yeah, thank you.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Prabhu, you just see this. Although formally Narada Rishi is the spiritual master, Srila Vyasadeva is not at all dependent on a spiritual master, because in essence he is the spiritual master of everyone else. But because he is doing the work of an acharya, he has taught us by his own conduct that one must have a spiritual master, even though he be God himself. Lord Sri Krishna, Sri Rama, and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all incarnations of Godhead, accepted formal spiritual masters, although by their transcendental nature they were cognizant of all knowledge, they knew everything. In order to direct people in general to the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna, he himself in the incarnation of Vyasadeva is delineating the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. He had come for that. You're perfectly correct in that. So, but alongside that, we have to understand, and in 4th chapter towards the end, before Narada Muni comes, he also finds out that devotional service is the because I have not glorified devotional service, that's the reason for my sadness. But still, when a spiritual master comes in front of your spiritual master, always, 100% of time, you have to be cool. And Vyasadeva showed that. That's why Vyasadeva says, you know everything. See, Vyasadeva, this is one more verse which I can just show you. Pretty interesting, this chapter, and when you are reading Bhagavatam, let's go to this 4th verse. Fourth, no, I think it was. Here he says, Narada Muni is calling Vyasadeva as Prabhu. He says that you have fully delineated the subject of impersonal Brahman as well as the knowledge derived therefrom. Why should you be despondent in spite of all this, thinking that you're undone? My dear Prabhu, my dear sir. So Narada Muni is saying that. And see the next thing. Next thing what he says is, Asti eva, Vyasa, there is certainly, all you have said about me is perfectly correct. Vyasadeva is saying, all you said is perfectly correct. I know everything. Despite all of this, I am not pacified. And then he goes to a humble platform and he said, I therefore question you about the root cause. So actually Vyasadeva could have also done that, but Vyasadeva is also giving a chance to glorify Narada Muni out there. And then he says he also brings the qualities of a spiritual master. Hope that answers you, Prabhu. You can also read towards the end of 4th chapter, wherein he catches up that. I can just say you that particular verse also, which will, you can see the 1.4.31. If you see this, let's see. Kim va bhagavata dharma na prayena nirupitaha. Bhagavata dharma. This may be because I did not specifically point out the devotional service of the Lord, which is dear both to perfect beings and to the infallible Lord. This is even before Narada came. The dissatisfaction which was being felt by Srila Vyasadeva is expressed herein in his own words. Unless one is fixed in the normal condition of service, neither the Lord nor the living being can become fully satisfied. This defect was felt by him when Narada Muni reached him, and then he comes up.
Sure. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, we have, okay, Dr. Lata asking a question. What are ways to reach Bhava stage? If a neophyte devotee falls down, is it possible to reach Bhava stage in this lifetime, especially in this Kali Yuga? Yes, Mataji, it is possible to reach. Prabhupada says that we have to perfect our life being in this particular, means we have to perfect our life in this particular life itself. So it's possible to reach. It doesn't take a long time. It can be done in a matter of seconds. It only depends how much surrendered you are to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is mentioned in the scriptures that Parikshit took 7 days. And of course, he was a devotee, but to remember the Lord at the time of death. Similarly, Khatavanga, there is a mention of Khatavanga Maharaj. Khatavanga was actually helping he was a king from the king from Earth, means from this planet, but he was helping the demigods in fighting with the Rakshasas. He was so qualified. So once he's just after that, as he's about to leave, the demigods are giving him gifts. He asks, I forget whether he asked Yama or he asked Indra, he asked, when will I leave my body? They see him and they say, the next moment. And the next moment he just stops back and he just concentrates on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he just concentrated for that one moment and he went back home, back to Godhead. So it's just a matter of a moment. And we have seen that. We have seen that practically by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, how many devotees have actually remembered Krishna at the time of death. Practical, and it's not only sannyasis, it's not only grihasthas. We have seen every ashrama. We have seen brahmacharis, we have seen prabhus, we have seen matajis, we have seen sannyasis, and everyone demonstrating. Prabhupada demonstrated himself personally. Of course, he is an eternal associate, but with regards to, we have seen those of them who are practicing, the sadhika bhaktas also. So we can do that. And how to do that? There are stages. So the first stage, it starts with faith. The next is by association with the devotees. Then you start practicing devotional service. Then whatever impediments are there, you get removing that. Then you get a taste for it. You become determined in it. And then as you progress, you will get into, you'll get means from ruchi asakti, and then you will get the bhava stage. I have not used the Sanskrit terminologies, but there is a way. The best important thing is, so that's the difference also, between bhakti and between the jnana and even niskama karma. There is a difference in that. In that, the way of achieving and the end point is different, but in bhakti, it's the same. Bhakti anywhere, even you can do bhakti here. When you go back to spiritual world also, you can do bhakti. So you can reach that, but if you have to start doing bhakti to the extent whatever you can practice. And when you do that, you can reach. There is nothing that you cannot reach. I hope that answers you, Lata Mataji. Okay, there is a question from Guru Raj Prabhu. Is Dr. Lata here? Okay, you have found that. Okay.
I can see she is there in the meeting.
Yes, Mataji responded. Thank you. So please, I do not know, Mataji, where you are associated with. I will just say that wherever, be in the association of devotees, practice practice devotional service, start up with chanting, read the transcendental literatures, and as we saw today, please follow Narada Muni's instruction in glorifying the Lord. And there is no better way to glorify than to preach and then to follow. Achar prachar. Do that. Then don't have to worry. Krishna himself will ensure that he will come and take you back home. And doesn't matter whichever stage we are in. Even if I am in the Shraddha stage, but Krishna will say, this Anadi, foolish fellow can never come to this Bhava stage. But he's trying his best. So Krishna says, Mata Smritir Jnanam Apohanam Cha. So he will ensure that I remember him at the time of death. I have complete faith in that much, that if I have implicit faith in my spiritual master and Krishna, he will make like me remember him. So you can try also. Yeah, okay, let us just see this question. One more, Guru Raj. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. My question is, what is the destination of other religious practitioners? Whether the heaven and hell concept mentioned in the Bible, Quran matches with that of Srimad Bhagavatam, or they are different altogether. Prabhu, I'm sorry, I haven't read the Bible and Quran completely, so I cannot answer you completely the way I can say about Srimad Bhagavatam. But I have read from Srila Prabhupada's books that Prabhupada says that all the two, both of the holy books which you said, he says that they belong to bona fide religion. So I'm basing myself on that because they are bona fide religion, and Srila Prabhupada mentions that this bona fide religion is meant to raise love of God. Any bona fide spiritual practice is meant to increase our love towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead and go back. So maybe, but depending on different classes of people, it could be that the different scriptures were given at different point of time. See, at certain point of time, I've once again read in that those people were praying everything, shoes, slippers, everything. So at that point of time, what happened was they were asked not to worship the form of the Lord. But you have 99 names of Allah, which means all powerful, and in Bhagavatam, the complete description is given. Maybe it's a complete understanding because Srimad Bhagavatam was given to very learned persons. It was given to the sages who knew everything. So maybe a complete knowledge is given, and maybe the other ones is given to the persons who didn't have that complete knowledge. Because if we try to understand, even going by the limited history which we have read, though we have not read those two scriptures, I have not read those two scriptures in detail, but it is we can know from the Shrota, whoever is our Shrota, whoever is our audience. Whatever the audience needs, you cannot go to a KG1 class and say that square root of -1 equal to I. He will say, you are crazy. He will say, the teacher, go out of the class because we cannot take a square root of a negative number. So it depends on what it is. But they are bona fide and they will for sure ensure love of God. I hope that answers you, Guru Raj Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Akshay Prabhu.
Prabhuji, I had one question. Like, so we have 4 sampradayas, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, like, could you please highlight a little bit on it? Like, I mean, they all, like at the end they also, glorify about Krishna, or there's something else in that. How is it?
Yeah, Prabhu, can I know where you practice and where do you stay so that I can accordingly?
Yeah, right now I'm staying in I stay in Bangalore only. Okay,
Okay.
and yeah. So
you're associated with the youth forum. You're associated with.
Yes.
Okay, Prabhu. Okay, thank you, Akshay Prabhu. So yes, very nicely said. So it's we usually touch base this. So there are 4 paramparas. We understand that Krishna gave his knowledge. The knowledge came up. Was given to 4 people. It was given to Brahma, it was given to Lakshmi, it was given to Shiva, and it was given to the Kumaras. And from those 4 paramparas, the 4 Vaishnava paramparas which we are referring to. And in this 4 Vaishnava parampara, so we, like in ISKCON, we belong to the Brahma parampara. Similarly, if you go to Tirupati Balaji, they are from the Sri parampara. Then the other 2 paramparas are also there, where you have the Rudra parampara, which is Vishnu Swami belongs to that. Some part of, I do not exactly know, I have never met them, but I have heard that they are in the western part of India. And similarly, the Kumara parampara also is there, who derive their knowledge from whatever Kumaras are given, the 4 Kumaras. And in case of you have been to Udupi, if you have been to Udupi, since you're in Bangalore, you will know, they are also from the Madhva Parampara, that means the Brahma Parampara. So in the Brahma Parampara, you have from Brahma to Narada to Vyasa, and then you will see that if you open up the Bhagavad Gita as it is, it will mention from Vyasadev to Madhvacharya, who is from the Madhva Parampara, right? And then it goes on and so forth. It goes on till Madhavendra Puri. And after Madhavendra Puri, there is a little difference. We have the Gaudiya Parampara coming up from there, which becomes from Madhavendra Puri to Ishvara Puri. And then it comes to Chaitanya and the Gauda Des. And then we have the Gaudiya Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, who established the Gaudiya Smuts. And in that, one of them is also ISKCON. So we can say we are Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya Sampradaya, or Gaudiya ISKCON Sampradaya. That's where I belong to. So that's one of the parampara. And the Sri is, the Sri parampara, I said you. The Tirupati Balaji, you have the other type of tilak. You have the Madhvas, they have the other type of tilaks. Madhvas are again very close to us, but everyone have little difference in their understanding and where they will go. I hope that answers you, Akshay Prabhu, or if you wanted some more details.
Yeah, so I mean, like, as you said, like there is some, little bit difference in between that.
Yeah.
So like at the end, like I mean, at the the conclusion, they glorify Krishna itself, right?
Yeah, they could glorify Krishna or some of the incarnations of Krishna. So they can glorify, they will glorify Govinda. So Govinda, Govinda, Govinda. So they will glorify Srinivas Govinda, they will glorify Vishnu, they will glorify Udupi Krishna. They're different, no Prabhu. And so it's the Gaudiyas may go to Golok Vrindavan. But if you send Hanuman to Golok Vrindavan, it will become a very difficult proposition. Because he will not be able to find out where to stay. So he has to go to Ayodhya, because his Lord stays there. He is always in an awe and reverence mood. So they worship based on that. So Vishnu is like, have you been to Tirupati anytime?
I know, no, Prabhuji, not yet.
Never.
Never.
Okay. What about, which place have you gone? You tell me among the places I said you.
Nowhere.
Nowhere. Krishna.
Just the small temples. That's it around me.
Okay. You should come with me sometimes. Okay. I'll take you.
Sure. I mean, I'm looking
Okay.
forward for that
So
moment.
when you come to the temples, I'll say you, when you go to Tirupati temple, try to think about this. The Lord is standing, and when you go, you have to go perfectly in a queue. Perfectly in a queue. And in front of the Lord, you get 2 minutes, you pray to him, thank him for giving the darshan, and you move out. Perfectly awe and reverence, you go there. And you go to Vrindavan, any temple, there is no awe and reverence. It's like hordes of people go together into the temple together. So that's a difference in the mood there itself. How you treat the Lord. Somewhere he's the judge, somewhere he's the official form, somewhere he's the very personal form. That's how the difference is. So accordingly, their literatures glorify that. And both are required. We cannot say that this is the only form, because he manifests in different, he has unlimited forms.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. If I need like in detailed information, is there any like bona fide place where can I get this?
Where can you get a detail of about the 4 paramparas? Or how about the importance of parampara?
No, I mean the detailed information about it.
You can read in Srimad Bhagavatam. I don't remember which chapter. Just ping me your name, and I will then give me your number, or this is my number. I'm just pinging you. I can then send you the exact one. I can send you whatever is the exact place, because I don't remember at the top of my head. But you can read chapter 4, wherein it stresses the importance of parampara, the first 3.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Mataji, they won't reach to Goloka. Hare Krishna, Akshay Prabhu. So they will go to Vaikuntha. Some of them will go to Vaikuntha. There's a different place. Only 1/4 of the world is material world. Rest 3/4 is spiritual world. Like you stay in home, I stay in home, but my home is different than your home. So similarly, Rama's place is different from Narayana's place, Pradyumna's place. Everyone's place is different. Krishna's place is different. Krishna's place is Golok Vrindavan. Ramachandra's place is Ayodhya. So everything is different. So similarly, the Sri Sampradaya, they will go to Vaikuntha mostly, because they believe in that. So everyone have different places to go. But that is the spiritual world. That is not material world. Okay. Yeah, Dinanath Prabhu corrects me. Thank you, Prabhu. We get few seconds only. 2 minutes is only for 2 top persons. Okay, thank you. Yeah. I hope that answers. At the time of death, if we remember Jesus or Allah, where will we land finally? Kusuma Mataji, why do you want to do that? Better, if you remember Krishna, you will go back to Krishna. Don't try something out at the end place. When I go to hotel, big hotel, I don't try out many different things. I know whichever is good item, I just try that. It's better to, at the time of death, it is very difficult to try out some things. To wrongly land somewhere, then it becomes a very bigger problem. But of course, Jesus and Allah are also bona fide people. So I don't know, but where will you go? Allah means all powerful, some impersonal aspect. Maybe go to Brahmajyoti and again have to come. I don't know. So let me stick to what I know. So I would also request you that think of Krishna. It's better we know where we will land. It's very clearly mentioned. But if you are worried about your Christian and Muslim friends, if they are true Christians and true Muslims, then for sure their scriptures will mention where they will go, as well as, because if they are remembering the Lord at the time of death, the Lord will ensure a proper place according to whatever they had their mood. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Thank you, Kushma Mataji. Yes. Okay. Okay, thank you for its glories of Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. I hope no other questions. Yes, Dinanath Prabhu, you wanted to share something?
Srila Prabhupada, when asked a question, if we cannot remember Krishna, what will happen if we remember you, Prabhupada, because we have known and seen you? Prabhupada said, yes, Krishna will help, we'll go back. So this is one simple thing which to share, because devotees can very easily get Prabhupada mercy. Every day we glorify, we hear, we read, and we get so much association of his disciples who have association of Prabhupada.
Right.
That's much easier than so many other things which may be very, very difficult for all of us.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's easier for us to remember our spiritual masters, Srila Prabhupada, and I'm sure that our spiritual masters and Prabhupada will be in Krishna's place. So if we remember A and A is at B, then we will go to B. So thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
How are you doing, Prabhuji? You're still in your place or Bangalore?
No, I'm back to Bangalore, Prabhu.
Haribol, welcome. When did you come?
I came today, 6th day, Prabhu.
Haribol, very nice.
Yeah, thank you.
So we'll see you sometime in temple?
Yeah, I came from Mangala.
Today?
But after that, I could not. Today, I could not. So, yes, I will. I thought I'll come down, Prabhu. I'll come and take your association.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
How is Brinda doing? Malaysia?
She's good, Prabhu.
Malaysia?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Are there any questions we're planning to take, Prabhuji, or shall we?
I think with your permission, we could stop.
Yeah. Sorry. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for this wonderful session. Actually, you gave the very, very important essence of that whole chapter, that how we have to glorify Krishna to feel very, very happy and satisfied. And this is so wonderful to hear from you. And we thank all the devotees who joined eagerly and heard this class enthusiastically. Also, one very, very happy and good news is from the next week onwards, we are going to have this Bhagavatam classes of Sundays in temple itself. So all the devotees are invited. Personally, you can be sitting in the temple hall of Shishi Jagannath, Baldev Subhadra, Shishi Radha Krishna Chandra, Shishi Gavanatha. And there, the speaker also will be, the speaker will be present in the temple hall itself. And the temple address and other details who don't know, we will be posting in the WhatsApp group maybe today also. So all are
but some who want to stay online, can they stay, Prabhu?
I can check with the Vipin Haripu, but yeah, that should be available facility, obviously, because But those who
Prabhu.
Whichever is
online. Yes, please.
Satyam Mataji belongs to my group.
All devotees will get prasadam. All those who are online get prasadam online only.
It's
So
okay,
those who come
Prabhuji.
physically, they will get prasadam
No,
there.
that's no
Class is at
problem.
least
But
1
class
month.
online, Prabhuji, it's so
Yes.
far
Yeah,
for
this
us.
is-
No, we will
Canto.
have it in the temple, but we will also keep the
Yes, please.
online. Yes.
Yes.
So
We
that
beg,
Thank
all
so
you.
that
we beg all the online devotees to please come sometime, have prasadam also in temple.
No, that we will definitely come, but it's far, we have to plan.
Yeah, Prabhu. Like you see, a person like me sitting from Orissa, I had to attend this session. Someone is from Chennai, someone is from Manipur, and if you be so harsh, that will be so difficult.
No, Prabhuji, we will have it.
I'm just begging. Begging is not harsh.
Sorry.
Also, we have put a quiz link in the chat, so devotees can kindly complete the today's quiz based on the session for more clarity and understanding. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Srimad Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Samavet Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Jagannath Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hey Vrajalakshmi Mataji, good to see you. I hope your health is good.
Hare Krishna,
Yes,
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu, it is maintaining
Okay.
with the
Thank you.
devotees' blessings.
Good.
Krishna's and your
Thank you,
senior.
Prabhuji. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Satya Mataji.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, it was such a wonderful class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All glories to Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna. Prabhu, in Prasanna Lakshmi count,
Yes, Prabhuji.
Jyotikas.
Yes, Prabhuji. Myself,
Yes, and what's-
Nandakishore Prabhuji.
Oh, Hare Krishna. Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Your daughter is very inspiration for me.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
For us also, Prabhuji, we are need to learn from kids nowadays. That is how it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
They know so much, when they come. I just think that wish I was also that Krishna conscious.
Yes,
So
Prabhuji.
it's so nice. Thank you for a good upbringing of them.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare
Prabhuji, we are seeking the same sessions for rest of cantos also.
Jyotishwar Madhav Prabhu was talking about that some days, that once first canto gets over, we will continue that. He was saying that.
Great help for us.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. With all of your permission, we shall end it here. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Mata.